Welcome to the inaugural episode of In the Drink, the show in which I will be rationalising my propensity to drink far too many cocktails in any given week. Much like the subject of this episode, Donald Draper of the hit show Mad Men, and more specifically his drink of choice, the Old Fashioned. After Mad Men became the cultural behemoth that it is today, it really propelled Don's signature drink, the Old Fashioned, into a new age of popularity. The drink itself, though, isn't just a benign decoration, as many might gather. It actually, like many other things in the show, has a lot to say about his character. Don famously belongs in the pantheon of characters which people frequently miss the point of by idolising. He's one of those people that people in real life and within the show want to be. People want to be Don Draper. No one, actually, more than Don Draper himself. He's a bit of an imposter in his own skin. I mean, his real name being Dick Whitman. Spoilers, by the way. Don is, as we see at the beginning of the show, a country bumpkin, and he moves into a big city. He is, in essence, old-fashioned. Something which we actually see come out quite prominently in his relationship with Megan, who acts as the personification of the more liberated, free, non-constrained woman of that era, something which Don ultimately fails to understand. This is quickly turning into a Matthew Weiner appreciation show though, so let's move on to the drink itself. Within the show, the Old Fashioned is represented two main ways. The first variation of the Old Fashioned that we are going to look at resembles more closely the mid-century Old Fashioned, go figure. We actually see him describe this to us quite usefully in this early scene with his daughter Sally.
Muddled. I mean, smash it.
So we'll start, as you'd expect for an old-fashioned of this era, or even the modern day, with just one sugar cube. Then we're going to use Angostura bitters, and you can put 4 to 8 dashes in this, less or more, whatever your preference is. We don't get an exact number for this in the show, so you can just do it to taste, like so. Now, at this point, you could normally expect the drink to be muddled with the sugar and bitters, maybe with a splash of soda water, but as we saw in the scene where Don told Sally to mash it,
They did the mash. They did the monster mash.
what he was referring to was the fruit in the drink. I know. Bear with me. So, what we're going to need is a wedge of orange. And we'll drop that in. And we are going to need a maraschino cherry. These things are so nice. And now we can muddle this fruit salad in a glass to a paste. And this is just about thoroughly mashed to a nice, well, a paste. Whether it's nice or not, we don't know. And the next thing we're going to need is bourbon. Now, we know that Don prefers rye.
Keep a fifth of something in your desk. Mr. Draper drinks rye.
But this drink, which Don predominantly drinks in many bars and clubs which he visits over the show, we can expect that bourbon probably would have been used. That was more common in Old Fashions by this time. And I think we're going to use a Woodford Reserve bourbon. And we need just 2 ounces of this. Now this at the moment, it just smells like orange juice, honestly. And now we are ready to add ice to this and stir. You maybe in a modern day would expect bars to use a big cube of clear ice, but in the show we mainly see the Old Fashioned served with just normal sized bar cubes, so that's what we're going to use today. And now stir. Oh god, it just looks like well, it looks like what it is, a mangled fruit salad in brown slush. Get back here. That's probably enough. Now, at this point in making an Old Fashioned, you would normally express citrus peel over it, either usually orange for bourbon and lemon for rye, but we have more than enough citrus in here with our muddled orange slice in there. So let's try it. And as you can see, it's just got this absolute mess of bits of fruit at the bottom there. Bottoms up. Honestly, it just tastes like someone's added a bunch of orange juice to some whiskey. It's not bad. It's actually quite nice. I mean, if someone sent me this at a bar, I wouldn't give it back by any stretch of the imagination. I would definitely finish this. I was expecting it to be a lot more oily and almost, I don't know, that's actually quite nice. I mean, the function of the fruit here is clear. It's definitely to mask the harsh flavors of the spirit which makes up the body of this. It definitely takes away from what the bourbon's trying to do here, what the bitters and the sugar are doing. It's definitely, first and foremost, I would say, a fruity cocktail. Not bad though. But there is one more version of the Old Fashioned which we see in the show. This next version of the Old Fashioned is from a very famous scene in the show, and one of my personal favorites, in which Don has a heart-to-heart with a man who he does not yet realize to be Conrad Hilton, the heir of the Hilton Hotel empire.
I'm Connie, by the way. Don.
Where they hide out in a bar to escape from their respective parties.
I am at work, disguised as a party.
I'm at work disguised as a wedding.
And Don mixes them up, his version of the Old Fashioned. And for this version of the Old Fashioned, Don starts, sure enough, by taking his glass, placing in it 1 sugar cube and soaking it in 5 dashes of bitters. We seem to do this quite specifically. Like so. And this is, when it gets a little bit weird, what he then does is he takes a glass, a pint glass in the scene, but we're just going to use this highball glass because we're only making one. And he fills it with ice. He then reaches for rye because they cannot find any bourbon in the bar.
Rye okay with you?
I have this Woodford Reserve rye, which is really quite nice, but I found very recently this Canadian Club. Now, many people will recognize this is Don's whiskey of choice. It's not an American rye, it's a Canadian whiskey, and these are frequently made mostly with rye, as this is, so it fits our bill. So what Don does at this point is he takes his rye and he free pours it. Oh, about there in the glass. Very loose, nothing specific. And he then takes soda water or sparkling water, pours it directly into the glass of rye and ice. Oh, about adding another half to the volume. He then returns to the glass, leaving this on the side, and he muddles the bitters and the sugar cube. He doesn't do it for long, not as long as we would expect to get it into a nice paste. So this is about where Don's at in the show. He then not so gently mixes up his soda water and rye. And free pours into the glass. Without even mixing it, he then garnishes it with a wedge of orange. Now, I don't need to tell you guys that this is not how to properly make an Old Fashioned. I'm sure most people watching this would be able to recognize that this is not proper form. But remember, that's not what our aim is today. Our aim is to replicate the Old Fashions as seen in the show Mad Men, and we've done a pretty good job with this one, so let's taste it. And it just tastes like a very weak whiskey and soda. The bitters and the sugar have obviously disappeared because they're not even mixed in the drink during the show. You get a bit of that orange because it is just floating there by your mouth. Hell of a cocktail.
Hell of a cocktail.
And there you have it, 2 Old Fashions as seen in the television show Mad Men. Now, I know these are not how you would expect an old-fashioned to be made today if you entered a bar, nor probably how you would make one for yourself at home. But this is how they are presented to us in the show, and we have achieved the goal of replicating that, I think pretty damn well, actually. You said you could move. I enjoyed this one slightly more than I thought I would. I mean, it still tastes a bit funny, but you know, that's okay. That's okay. I hope you've enjoyed this episode in a show that I think is called In the Drink, hopefully still is. And if we have indeed made more episodes, please go and check them out. It would be our pleasure. Maybe we haven't made more episodes. Maybe this is the only one we've done, in which case, thanks for watching. We had a ton of fun making this, and I hope to, one day, see you guys again soon. Thank you.